Welcome, fellow mech warriors. This is SleeplessRonin, and today I thought I'd do something a bit different on my channel. For one thing, I'm actually showing my face. I usually am just a voice behind the camera, but today I'm going to show my face. So what I've done is I've gone to that my Tiermaker website, and I decided to rank all of the 55 TRO 3025 era mechs in 5 different categories. Oh yeah, we're talking this classic book. My printing is 3rd edition from 1987. So, we're talking venerable here. So, we've got all of our mechs from that era, starting with the 20-ton Locust all the way to the 100-ton Atlas. We're going to rank every single one of them. The 5 rankings I'm going to do are as if I was a pilot. This is as if I was a mech warrior pilot. So my perspectives on these. The 5 categories are: I would own the mech. I would pilot the mech. You know, if someone else owned it kind of thing. Meh. I could take it or leave it. If it's the only mech option available, I'll pilot it. If it's not, I'm definitely going to skip it. It's a walk-in coffin, so I don't want to drive that one at all. Or it's scrap. In other words, its parts are best used to repair anything else other than it. That's our 5 categories for today. I was going to do this with a really long technical spec layout. I'd written up a big old spreadsheet and stuff like that, and I decided, nah, I'm going to gut this one. I'm going to go with my guts on each of these mechs. Give a little bit of reason, and slap it in the ranks. So here we go with our first of the light mechs, the Locust. It's got good armor for its tonnage, and if we ignore the basic version, we go to the 1E, it's actually a really good mech. It's heat efficient, and it's very fast. You know what? Our first mech on the list? Yeah, I'd own that sucker. Then, unfortunately, we come to a pair of mechs, the Stinger and the Wasp, that are just not very good. I mean, they're bad, actually. 696 is okay speed, but they have no armor to back that up. They have less armor than a Locust. And most of them don't have very good variants. They're just not good mechs. As a game master, I love using them because I can throw them out there and my players get to kill them all day. That's great. Have fun. But you know what? As a mech pilot, these are walk-in coffins. Both of them. All right, now we got the Commando coming up. I like the Commando, actually. It's pretty good. It's got the same speed minus jumping as a Stinger and a Wasp. It's got got much better weapons. SRM4, SRM6 medium laser base version. That can put out like 3 times the damage of a Stinger or a Wasp usually. That's a good little mech. I honestly can't remember the armor top of my head. Can't be that bad. But you know what? I'm gonna put the Commando in. I'd pilot it. The Javelin. Oh. The Javelin is... It's either a worse Commando or an unjumpy Stinger Wasp. It's just... bleh. It's... You know what? It's a meh. It's a true meh. Oh, now the Spider. Spider! Oh yeah. 8, 12, 8. Only 2 medium lasers? Who cares? This is a fantastic mech. It's lightly armored. It may not even have as much armor as a Locust. I don't remember off the top of my head again. But it's so much fun. This is like one of the ultimate harasser scout mechs. Yeah, oh yeah, I'd own this sucker. In fact, I'd own it more than a Locust. It's better. It's so much fun. Oh, look, it's my least favorite mech of the entire TRO. It's a mech design that, honestly, if it came out today, would fall into an April Fool's TRO. It's a 232. It can't do anything. It can't outpace... Infantry can almost outpace it. It's just bad. I don't care that it has a AC-20. It can't ever get enraged to use it. It's terrible. Honestly, the only time this mech even becomes any good is in later eras when it come out in Arrow 4. Then a lance of them can actually do something. Until then, it's scrap. This is just bad. And then we got the Valkyrie. I don't think I like a single variant of the Valkyrie in 3025. Medium in LRM-10 with a 5.85 profile, or a Flamer in an LRM-10 with a 5.85 profile. It's just so terrible. I like the model, but it looks awful. As a mech pilot, you wouldn't catch me dead in it. It's scrap. Not as scrappy as the Urban Mech, but it's scrap. The Firestarter. It's a speedy mech with anti-infantry weaponry. And if I'm playing with the rules for lighting things on fire, yay, it's good. But other than that, it just overheats. It's a mess. And it has a rear-mounted flamer. And it's a rear-mounted weapon on a non-quad mech. That's garbage. That's just garbage. Because of the machine gun ammo on this, I'm going to rate this as a walking coffin. The Jenner. 2 variants of the Jenner, pretty popular. 4 medium lasers and an SRM-4, or armor and 4 medium lasers. The K version is an absolute freaking, I would own this mech. So the Jenner, it's another own. In fact, it's the most own. Come on, move, spider. There we go. The Jenner is like the best of the lights. 4 mediums, 7, 11, 5. Pretty good on heat. That is a good mech. And then we come to the OS Scout, which is hilarious because in my copy of the Technical Readout, the actual stats that it prints out are for the 60-ton OS Soul. So, it's an error. There's an error in the book. Actually, there are several errors in the book. This is an old book. It's got a lot of mistakes. But still, the OS Scout, 1 medium laser, terrible mech, just all terrible. It's scrap. It's bad. It's bad. It's more bad than the Valkyrie. Oh, then we come to the Panther. This is our last light mech. And the Panther is stupid design. It has a PPC and an SRM-4. Okay. With a 4.64 profile, why isn't that a PPC and an LRM-5? At least make both weapons match the same range brackets, kind of. It's a bad design. It's scrap. It's just bad. It should be a light sniper, but it's not. It's one of those 3025 designs that you'll see quite a few of that are just, why was this ever made? It's terrible. I mean, it's honestly not as bad as the other ones in the scrap pile, but it's still scrap. And then we have the Assassin, our first medium mech. I can't like it. I just cannot like the Assassin at all. This mech is a scattershot on weaponry, LRMs, SRMs, medium lasers. It's all over the place. It's a jack of all trades, master of none, without enough armor to match its, or it's got good speed but no armor, and the weapons don't align. If this had been all SRMs like a commando loadout, it might have been good. But it's not. It's one of those stupid designs again. It's scrap. The Cicada. It's a double weight, less gunned Locust. It's meh. Honestly, it goes in the meh pile. It can kick better than a Locust, but it's just a Locust at twice the weight. Just do something different. And then we come to the Clint. Is this named after Mr. Eastwood? I have no idea, actually. It makes me think it is with the big gun on the one arm. I don't honestly know. But it's kind of heat efficient. It just doesn't have a lot of guns. It's never my favorite mech in the world. I think it falls in a solid meh. I'd pilot it if there's nothing else available. The Hermes 2, which is a weird one to get in a 3025 book. You're like, Hermes 2? Where's the 1? Well, that's SLDF era mech. But it's like the Clint, only without jumping. So it's just a meh. The Vulcan. Oh, here we go. This mech has an AC-2. And the AC-2 is one of those weapons that is so bad in the game that I wonder why it was ever statted out and even included in a rule book. It's a truly awful weapon. There is, for the weight it takes up, 6 tons or whatever, plus ammo, anything else in the game is better. Anything. Anything else in the game is better. An LRM-10 is better. The Vulcan is just a pile of garbage. It's scrap. It's truly awful mech. The Whitworth. Really slow. LRMs, medium lasers. I can't remember the armor on it too well again. Middling armor, I think. It's a good mech to go in a fire support lance. I think I would qualify this as a wood pilot. The Blackjack. If memory serves, this has 2 AC2s. So where do you think I'm sticking the Blackjack? Yeah, it's scrap. I also never really like the looks of it. It's just... Later eras, it becomes okay. Right now, in 3025, it's just bad. The Hatchetman. Oh, one of my personal favorite mechs in the whole book, actually. It's slow, but it carries a hatchet. Except for the one in this book. The one in this book has 3 extra heat sinks. Which, by the way, it's no longer a legal variant. It's the original 3F, which didn't actually have the hatchet. In the 3F, a hatchet weighs 3 tons. So the 3F, in my book, is actually not a legal variant. In the 3039 Technical Readout, when the mech's been corrected up to its proper thing and actually has a hatchet that weighs 3 tons and only has 11 heat sinks, yeah, that's correct. It's pretty funny, but again, it's not the only error in this book. Still, you know what? I own a Hatchet Man. I like the mech a lot. In fact, let me throw up in the corner over here a video I did where I take 4 Hatchet Men and attack a bunch of mechs in the Harebrained Schemes Battletech video game. It's a lot of fun. I like that game a lot. Still, the Hatchet Man is definitely I would own this mech. It's fun. Speaking of fun, you know what's really fun? Subscribing to my channel. Because you want to see more Battletech content, more board game content, and more Kickstarter content, and other nerdy things I enjoy doing, reviews for fantasy and TV shows or whatever hits my fancy, because let's just be honest, I'm just me. Be sure to subscribe and you'll be updated whenever I upload new videos. And if you like this video, hit the like button as well. It'd be really helpful for me. Thank you. Let's move on to the next mech, the Phoenix Hawk. I love this mech in Royal variants and in later eras. In 3025, it is just so heat inefficient with its movement profile that it's not very good. It is a solid, actually, it also is like one of those weird mechs that for some reason fails to have full head armor. It only has 6 points in the head. And I hate to say it, on that reason alone, considering a large laser can critical you and kill you in the cockpit, it's a walking coffin. I wish it was better. I really do, because I love the way it looks. Especially the new one from Catalyst. That's a gorgeous mech. The Vindicator. Honestly, it's a good mech. Pretty much all the versions of this time period are pretty good mechs. It's solid, it's not speedy, but it's good overall. Yeah, the Vindicator is one I would own. Not a Capellan. That's a lie. I really like Capella a lot in many ways. I love a lot of their mechs. The Thunder, the Teetsang, the Vindicator, the Menshin. They got a lot of good mechs. They really do. They're a fun faction to play as if you're the game master and you don't want to throw them in. You want a villain faction. They're a lot of fun. The Centurion. The Centurion has one big problem. Would you like to guess what that is? Another rear-mounted laser. Why? Why? Still, I like the Centurion enough that I'm going to put this into a will pilot category. It's always been one of my favorite mechs. In fact, when I play MechWarrior Online, I love the Centurion a whole lot. The Yin Lo Wang is a lot of fun. The Enforcer. The Enforcer, large laser, AC-10. Yeah, it's a good mech, actually. It's a little bit light on the ammo, but overall, since it's fighting at a 15 hex range constantly, yeah, I like the Enforcer a lot. I really do. So the Enforcer is going to go into the I would own it category. Hunchback. Hunchback. It's a good mech. I don't think there's a single variant I don't like. AC-20 G variant, I like it. The 4SP with the SRMs, I like it. The 4S with all the lasers, I think it's the 4S, I like it. The one with the LRMs, I like it. I like this mech. The one with the AC-10, it's still usable. There is not a bad variant of this mech in the entirety of the 3025 era. This might be like one of the best mechs in this era for all-around competency. It is just so good. Every variant is very, very good. So, absolutely an I would own. In fact, it's going in first place. It's going in first place. I'm going to make sure move the Hatchet Man up because I like the Hatchet Man that much. Actually, really hard to do these. Yeah, I actually think that's a pretty good category on the I would owns. Probably do that and that because while I like the Locust and the Spider, I do like those two mediums better. I'm a big medium fan. And, yeah. But the Hunchback, oh. The Hunchback is the mech. Trebuchet. Long-range support mech with low armor. The 5.85 profile. It's not bad. But I've never really been fond of them on the battlefield. I don't know why, but in a lot of games I've played, it's just never seemed to perform all that well. So I'm going to stick it in the mech category. It's just kind of like a, yeah, whatever. I'd use it, maybe not. The Dervish. It's a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none mech again. SRMs and LRMs and medium lasers. If it had dropped out the LRMs and just taken more SRMs and more heat sinks, or bigger SRMs and heat sinks, it'd probably been a better mech. But it's just not. And I don't know why. It's meh. Of the way I like the way it looks is the problem. I like the way it looks. I just wish it was better, especially since it carries SRM2s, and those are really, really bad weapons too. SRM4s are so much better than SRM2s. You're likely to get at least 3 missiles to hit. SRM2s, it's only like a 43% chance or something like that of getting 2 missiles to hit. That's not very good odds, honestly. Nah, not a big fan of it. But it's not terrible, so it's going to go in the meh. The Griffin. PPC LRM 10, 5.85, 152 armor. I know this one's armor off the top of my head. Yeah, classic. It's what I call one of the three brothers. The Wolverine, the Griffin, and the Shadowhawk are the three brothers. They all look very similar. They all have similar movement profile, identical movement profiles, identical armor, and just a different variety of weapons. The Griffin is the middle brother. This is the mech that I would pilot. The Shadowhawk. This is the lesser of the three brothers. It suffers from the jack-of-all-trades problem again. Why it has the SRM when it has an LRM and an AC5, I don't know. It's just not very good. It's a meh mech. Honestly, it's not walking coffin, it's almost there, but I've never seen it perform all that well on the battlefield. It's just not great. It's meh. Scorpion. We're going to take a break between the three brothers. There's a Scorpion right here. It's our first quad mech. Of the two in this TRO, it's our first quad. And it's bizarre. It's lightly armored, it's really fast. But it carries a PPC and an SRM. Why didn't it have a large laser in an SRM? Or some medium lasers in SRM? Something. It's bizarre. And because of the low armor with the high movement and the lack of ability to torso twist, I kind of think the Scorpion sadly falls into the walking coffin category. It makes me sad. I really wish it was better because I like the way it looks, but I think it's a walking coffin. The Wolverine. This is the elder of the three brothers. This is the awesome one. Especially the K variant. Oh, you strip that thing out with the large, medium, small laser combo, the other medium laser and the SRM. Oh, this is a mech that I absolutely would own. Now, not as high as the first three, but it's right there. Right there. The Dragon. It's our first heavy. It's bad. Has a rear-mounted laser again. It's very fast with long-range weaponry. Why? Why on earth do we keep doing that? Why do we keep giving speedy mechs that can close in and brawl really well long-range weapons? I don't get it. AC5s and LRMs. It's not a combo for this thing. This thing needs larges and mediums and SRMs, and it'd be a better mech. Hands down. And no freaking rear lasers. No rear lasers. No wire coat hangers. No rear lasers. It's... I hate to do this, but it's scrap. The Ostrock. Actually, I'm going to do the Ostrock and the Ossault at the exact same time because in all truth, again, these are identical mechs. They should have just been variants of each other. I don't know why they're not. I mean, you could say the same thing about the Griffin, the Wolverine, and the Shadow Hawk, but those just look cool, so keep them separate. These two look pretty awful. Just ugly designs. Terribly drawn. I'm not entirely drawn. Terrible looking. I heard somewhere they're supposed to be based off of Zentradi battle pods. They don't look like that either. They're just bad. Not big fans of them at all. I honestly... I don't think I can rate them all the way down to scrap because they actually can perform okay on the battlefield, but I don't think they're much more than walking coffins because they're low armored. They're low armored again. I mean, like, and they're bizarrely armored if I remember right as well. So both of them are going to go into walking coffins. Oh, the quick draw. The quick draw. Low armor. Rear mounted weaponry. Where do you think this thing goes? Yeah, it's scrap. I've never liked this mech. The Rifleman. Low armor, arm flippable. That's far better than stupid rear mounted weapons. But, like every variant, cooks alive. It is such a hot running mech. And it's like one of those designs that like sticks like a single ton of AC ammo in a torso with nothing else. So when it gets critted, it just goes... boom! It yeets itself all over the place. It's just gone. So the Rifleman, as much as I actually like the mech, is in all truth, it's the epitome of a walking coffin. I have, in multiple games, ejected from these things as the ammo exploded. And I'm talking, I had a mech wearer that was named Rocket Man because that's what he did in Rifleman. He rocketed off. Like every freaking game. So, walking coffin. Next we come to the Catapult. Okay. It's a lot like the loadout of a trebuchet, only for some reason, this is good. It's got one more medium laser, it's very good on heat, with a 4.6 profile, and a solid, I do believe, 10 tons of armor. The Catapult is good. It's a good all-around mech. I would own this. This is the first heavy, I think, that's going to go in the own category. And it's going to go right down here above these two medium, but after the Wolverine. I think I prefer a Wolverine. Next up, the Crusader. What can I say about this mech? It's another jack of all trades, master of none. But there are a couple of good variants. If I remember right, the L variant, the Liao variant, going back to Capella again, apparently, I kind of like. So, I want to put this in walking coffin. I really do. Because it's just so ammo heavy usually. But I kind of like it more than that. So I'm going to stick it in the meh category. The Jaeger mech. This thing has less armor than like almost every medium in the game. It's awful. It's truly a terrible design. I know it's supposed to be like anti-air or something stupid like that. Who cares? It's scrap. It's garbage. It is just exploding nonsense. The Thunderbolt. Lots of lasers. Missiles. Wolves outside. Yes, I hear wolves outside my place. Or coyotes. One or the other. Back to the Thunderbolt, though. Yeah, I like this mech. I really do. I don't know if I'd own it, but it's definitely a mech I'd pilot. So it's going to go up in the pilot category. In fact, we're going to put it as our top pilot category. I'm going to rearrange the pilot category because I think I would actually do that and that. Yeah, that order right there. Yeah, I like those. Okay, the Archer. I want to like this mech. I really do. I like the way it looks. But I can't. I can't like it that much. Because almost every variant is so miserable on heat, it's not even funny. The base variant with the two LRM-20s can't move and fire both 20s without cooking. So, yeah. I mean, I would pilot it, so at best this is meh. It's just not a great mech. Grasshopper. Switching tone right here to, like, not that great to, oh yeah, freaking amazing. The only stupid thing on this Grasshopper is the LRM-5 in the head. I don't get that. I don't know why that's there. I don't think I'll ever know why that's there, and I don't honestly care, because everything else with this mech is fantastic. Good heat sinks, excellent mobility, good armor, and lots of lasers. Oh yeah. Any day of the week, take a Grasshopper. Right now, though, the Grasshopper is actually going to go into slot 1 of the I would pilot mechs. because I love that mech. I really do. The Warhammer. It's heat inefficient, but not too much. Not too bad. It's like base version's 18 with 2 PPCs and a lot of other garbage, but you don't fire everything with the PPCs. You just fire the PPCs or everything else. I tend to prefer the Davian or the Karita variants that drop out the machine guns and the in the Karita, and the machine gun and the SRMs in the Davian one for more armor, or the Karita one just gives more heat sinks. I like both of those better than the base variant. So I'm going to put it in the wood pilot category because I think that's good enough for me. It's fun. It's not the most armored mech. I mean, in all truth, it's barely more armored than a Griffin or a Wolverine, but it also looks awesome, and it's one of the 2 iconic mechs of this era. The next one's the next iconic mech. So Warhammer goes in the I would pilot it, and it'd be right there in the I would pilots. Next up is the Marauder. The Marauder is a better mech than the Warhammer because it carries less excess weaponry. It's 2 energy weapons, 2 small energy weapons, and an AC-5 typically. The best version, in my opinion, is I think the Merrick version that drops out the 2 PPCs for 2 larges. I think that's a much better variant. It's more heat efficient, and it just can fight better. The PPCs are nice, but they're not worth the extra heat, I don't think. So the Marauder is nice, but it is definitely going to go in the I would own category. So the number 2 iconic mech, own. But we're only going to put it down there. Yeah, below the Hunchback, below the Griffin, or below the Grasshopper. The Orion. Alexander Kerensky's signature mech. It's good. The ACs, the LRM, the medium lasers, it all tends to work out pretty well. So I like the Orion. The Orion is going to be stuck in the I would own it category, but not very high. It's going to go right here. Hey, this is just SleeplessRonin saying that this is a random cut-in. I want to show some of my mechs over here or whatever. So, just take a look at those. And, Battletech's been a huge part of my life for, well, more than half of it. So, hope you're enjoying these Battletech videos. There'll be more to come. Just subscribe to the channel. Next up is our very first assault mech. And you know what? It lives up to its namesake. Because the awesome is awesome. I mean, I kind of like both the main variants I've seen this thing. PPCs or the LRM variant. I think there's a few other ones. But honestly, they're both pretty solid variants. And it's going to be the first assault mech is going to go straight into the I would own category. So, where would it go in the I would own category? I think probably right there. Yeah. And then we go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. A mech that I don't know why it exists. It looks like another stupid one of those mechs that should fall into a April Fool's joke. It is an assault mech with only 5 small lasers. It is, of course, the Charger. Yay, it can make physical attacks. But it has low armor, so it's not going to make it into ranges to make physical attacks. And its only guns are at short ranges. This thing on a battlefield typically spends most of its turns running around, trying to get into range, dying, and then being useless. It's a great distraction, and that's all it is. So in all truth, the parts in this are best ripped out and used in other mechs. And actually not even used in other mechs, just sold for C-bills to buy better mechs. The Charger is scrap. It is the second scrappiest piece of scrap. No, there. Next up is our second quad, the Goliath. LRM-10s, 2 of them, a PPC, and some machine guns. It's okay armor, okay speed. It's a quad, so it's a bit limited, a bit more restricted, because this is pre-turret time period, so we don't have any wonderful turrets to make sure that this quad can actually fire that PPC and LRMs in all directions around it. The Goliath falls into a solid... I would pilot it. I would pilot the Goliath. It also kind of looks cool. The Victor. 4.64, AC-20, SRMs, medium lasers. So it's a brawler. It's a true brawler. It gets up close and personal. It's got good enough speed and good enough armor. Yeah, I'd own a Victor. It's actually a pretty solid mech. I'm going to put it down here, though, below the catapult. I like the catapult more. The Zeus. It is a Victor without jumping, and more scattered on the weaponry. It's not my favorite. I like the way it looks. So I'm going to stick this into a I would pilot category. The Battlemaster. The Battlemaster is a really, really good assault mech. It's got a 4.6 speed, PPC, and a load of medium range weaponry. It's good. Or I guess their short range weapons is 9 hexes, most of them. SRMs and medium lasers, though. And the armor to get it into combat. So the Battlemaster is, in general, a pretty darn good mech, actually. I'd own it. I wish it had... the missile system was an LRM instead of an SRM to back up the PPC, and you could switch to mediums. But, I like it. I really do. So I'm going to put it in the own category. Again, it's going to be down here just above the Victor, though. The Stalker. The Stalker. The Stalker. The Marital Aid mech. It looks like either a Zeppelin or a Marital Aid. It looks stupid. It's one of the dumbest looking mechs in this technical readout. Honestly, the dumbest looking mech is coming next. No, that's not true at all. Dumbest looking mech is the Urban mech. Followed by anything that says Ost. Then the next mech, then this mech. Wow, this is 5th place for the stupid looking mech in here. 5th place in a stupid looking mech contest. The Stalker is a lot of guns, slow, good armor, but inability to handle the heat. It can sort of manage when you only use long-range weapons or short-range weapons, but even then it does struggle with its heat problems. It's a solid meh. It's got a lot of ammo too, so it can really explode. So I almost want to put it walking coffin. I'm going to put it in meh. But I'm going to put it higher up in the mez because, in all truth, I really haven't done the mez organization. The mez are... There's our mez. Actually, no. There's our mez. Meh. Meh. Next up is 4th place in the stupidest looking mech contest. The Cyclops. This mech is god-awful. It's low armor with an AC-20 and a lot of other short-range weaponry. And then it has an LRM rack. But it's low armor. It doesn't get into the battle very often. It just takes a couple punches of good weaponry and it goes down and it's dead. I don't like it. I don't like it. I think it's a walking coffin. The Banshee. There are 2 versions of the Banshee in general. There's the god-awful 4.6 version, which carries no guns at all nearly. More than a Charger, but still not enough guns. Or the really, really good 3.5 version. And that 3.5 version alone should take it into the would-own category. But because the other variants out there, I kind of feel this is a I would pilot mech. Not all the way up there. I know I said for other mechs, one version is good enough to elevate it, but the problem is the Banshee 1 version is enough to lower it. And now we come to the very last mech in the thing. The only 100-ton mech in the 30-25 era. The Atlas. The Atlas has nearly the same kind of weapon complement as the Cyclops, but it's slower. It has 2 rear-mounted medium lasers in the center torso. 2 rear-mounted lasers in a good place to have weaponry, but they're rear-mounted. I want to shed a tear for how bad that is, for how miserable that design concept is. I don't care that it's 3.5. It should have support, something to cover its rear, so it has more guns going out into the front to vaporize whatever this monstrosity is attacking. It should be a good mech. It really should be. But another problem is it has 1 medium laser in each arm, so that if you actually get into close range, you can't punch twice if you fire both lasers. You can't punch once if you fire one arm. No, this one should have 0 weapons in the arms, and the center torso rear lasers should be turned forward, and it would be a good design at that point in time. Unfortunately, I honestly think the drawbacks on this mech drop it all the way from a would-own down to meh. Yeah, it's our closest thing to maximum armor in this technical readout. It's 304 out of 307. But still, I can't rate it higher than a meh because the drawbacks are intentional, stupid design ideas that you see so many of in the 3025 book. There. Upper mez. Still. Oh, I did forget another one of the errors in the 3025 book. I do believe that the Orion mounts 3 or 1.5 tons of SRM 4 ammo, which is illegal. You can't do that. So in the 3039 technical readout, they've corrected it and added in half a ton of armor. Because, yeah, this book has some issues. Some significant issues. I mean, I like it. This is classic. I will have a link to this tier list down below the video description. And if you want to participate and do your own and save them, we can get a community amalgamation and see how these things all play out and see who thinks what mech belongs where. I mean, I imagine that there are going to be a lot of people that disagree with me on the urban mech and a few other mech choices as well. And you know what? If you have disagreements, you can leave a comment below. If you like my listing, leave a comment below. It's a community effort. Let's play this game. Everybody rank your tier stuff, and we'll see where it goes. I'll check back on the tier in a little while, maybe a month or two, and we'll see what happens. Fellow mech warriors, let's rank these mechs and have some fun. And in the future, I have a whole bunch of technical readouts, and I can go through those as well. It's a lot of fun. I think so. Or I think at least it's a lot of fun. And if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. And this is SleeplessRonin saying, sayonara. We'll catch you next time.